Hey, good day to you. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and this is The Bernie Show, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. In case you didn't hear the news over the weekend, we've changed our name, so I'm going to keep reminding you of that. The new name of our site is STL Sports Central. You can go to stlsportscentral.com to find it. You can follow us on X at STL Sports Central CTRL, which is a short way to use the word control at STL Sports Central I'm already confusing myself with the C's and the S's. So I'm off to a bad start at STL Sports Central CTRL on X. All right, I got that straight. You can read all my columns and watch all my videos and tap into the podcast of the videos, plus see me with Randy Carricker every Friday morning, among other things, here at STL Sports Central. Hey, that was a really bad loss for the Cardinals against Blue Jays on Monday night. They rallied from a 3-0 deficit to take a 4-3 lead in the eighth. And the story of the game was another blown save by closer Ryan Helsley. And I have a lot of stuff on that, but it's better for me to actually write a column about it because there's a lot of numbers that I need to delve into, and the numbers are substantive. And I'm going to do that later today. But here's the quick takeaway. Despite attempts by local media to dish the soft serve and downplay Helsley's problems in 2025, Ryan Helsley, and I take no pleasure in saying this, he is not close to being the same relief pitcher that we saw in 2024. I'm sorry. And yeah, I can back that up with facts. Today's topic is Nolan Gorman and why I believe he must get more at-bats against left-handed pitching, more playing time in general. Before I dig into that, let's make note of this team's offensive trend because the trend is not good. From the start of the season through May 16th, that was 45 games. The Cardinals averaged 4.9 runs per game. They had good numbers in batting average, on base percentage, slugging, OPS. Based on the adjusted runs created metric at Fangraphs, otherwise known as WRC+, the Cardinals were 12% above league average offensively through May the 16th, and that ranked 8th best in the majors over that time. But since May 17th, the offense has slowed down. They're averaging, the Cardinals are, one fewer run per game. And let's put it another way. Over the past 21 games since May 17th, compared to what their hitters did through the first 45 games, the Cardinals' batting average is down 22 points. The on-base rate is plummeted by 34 points. The slugging percentage has decreased by 79%. And their offense, which was 8th best in the league, let me go back to make sure I said that all right. The slugging percentage has been down 46%, OPS down by 79%. I think I had that right, but I just want to make sure. And their offense, which had been the 8th best in the league through the first 45 games, is ranked 25th among the 30 teams in offense over the last 21 games. So the trends are discouraging. And yeah, I'm not saying they're going to be stuck in place with that, but the Cardinals have too many hitters that are performing below the league average offensively over the last 3 weeks. And ironically, I guess that's the word, two of their better hitters over that time have been Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman. And yeah, we're talking about a mini sample size because that's all we've got to work with. But Walker's on the IL with a wrist ailment. That's taken longer than usual to heal. Boy, that's a surprise when it comes to the Cardinals diagnosing injuries and giving an estimated time of coming back, right? You talk about being overly optimistic like every single time just about. Anyway, so Walker is still on the IL with a wrist ailment. Marmol has given Nolan Gorman only 28 plate appearances in the last 21 games. The only Cardinals to have fewer plate appearances than Gorman since May 17th are the backup catcher, Yoel Pozo, and the recent minor league call-up, Ryan Vilade. The Cardinals, and I always mess up his name. I apologize, but it's not that important. Let's go. The Cardinals have faced a lot of left-handed pitching, and Marmol is obviously trying to limit Gorman's exposure to lefties. I get it, but only to a point. With this offense struggling and Nolan Gorman heating up, isn't it time to use him more often? Isn't it time to, give him a shot against left-handed pitching? This runway season, right? Listen, there's a lot of scenarios here how they could get more playing time for Gorman. In terms of the playing time distribution, we know this much. Another left-handed hitter, Alec Burleson, has moved ahead of Gorman for playing time. And over the last 21 games, Burleson has had 33 more plate appearances than Gorman. But unlike Gorman, Marmol has been giving Burley more swings against lefties. And, I'm not sure why Gorman would be out as much when even a right-hander starts for the other side. Now, one other way to utilize Gorman more frequently is to move Ivan Herrera from DH to catcher, not all the time, but more than he has been. And that would open more DH opportunities for Gorman. But that would mean less time behind the plate for Pedro Pagés. And while Pagés isn't much of a hitter, if one baseball town anywhere should know about the value of having a strong defensive catcher, it would be St. Louis, Missouri, right? And Pagés, his defensive work as a catcher is a true asset in every way. St. Louis pitchers love Pagés, who takes charge behind the plate, calls a great game, runs a great game, excellent leadership within the game. So what's the trade-off? You want to pull Pagés out of there and weaken your defense and your pitching in an attempt to boost the slumping offense? And you say, well, what do you mean reduce your pitching? But he's a catcher. He doesn't pitch. Okay, I think you know what I'm talking about. All right, here's some numbers for you. The real quick ones and easy ones. When the Cardinals work with Ivan Herrera this season at catcher, their ERA is 5.65. When they work with Pozo as their catcher, their ERA is 4.05. When they pitch to Pagés as their catcher, their ERA is 3.43. You want to mess with that? You want to mess with that because you don't like Pagés' 220 batting average or whatever the hell it is? I don't know. I can't go with you on that one. This is an imperfect stat, catcher ERA, because a lot of it depends on who is doing the pitching. But there's no question that a sharp-minded catcher can make a difference on how pitchers perform. Part of it is guiding them through the game. And Pagés is very astute about this. In fact, I didn't give him enough for credit. I'm not ashamed to admit that. The big fella here will always admit when he is wrong about something. Pagés has got some special qualities as a catcher, and you can't take that lightly because this pitching staff, in terms of not many strikeouts and, you got to get a lot of soft contact and ground balls, man. The pitch selection is prominent in that mix. All right, there are other ways to get more swings for Gorman. More days off for third baseman Nolan Arenado and a few more starts at third base for Gorman. I think Arenado would benefit from more days off and not with this silly half day off. Well, I'm going to get him off his feet and use him as a DH. No. However, I also recognize that if you use Gorman more often at third base, it weakens your defense. I think Gorman over time would be okay there, but it's Nolan Arenado we're talking about, right? Another way to get him in the lineup, Gorman, more often is have Brendan Donovan spend more time in a corner outfield spot, which gives Gorman more time at second base. And I always anticipate squawking. So before you begin talking to me about how terrible Gorman is defensively at second base, that has not been the case this so far this season. And yeah, I study the metrics on this, and that's what I go by. So here's something to consider. Despite playing a lot fewer innings than Brendan Donovan at second base, Gorman has just as many defensive runs saved as Donovan. That would be 2. And he's also rated higher than Donovan in outs above average. So the defense part is not all that relevant here. Marmol could give Lars Nootbaar some starts in center and give Victor Scott II some mental breaks during what has been an awful hitting slump for him in recent weeks. By the way, here you go. Shout out to Victor Scott. See, I'm supporting him even at a time where he's not hitting. I'm not saying Scott should be buried. There's always middle ground on these things, right? He could still come into the game at any point when the Cardinals have a lead and they want Scott's defense, or even as a pinch hitter against a right-handed pitcher with Nootbaar in center. And by the way, he needs to start hitting again. That's just a brief aside there. But anyway, with Newt in center, And I ain't talking about every day. I ain't talking about 4 days a week. Just more time in center. And that also means more time for Donovan in left field or right field and more time for Gorman at second base. The same applies to Burleson. He would get more time if you have Nootbaar playing center and you have basically 2 corner spots open in the outfield. Burley can spend some time in left or right field. He's a little awkward out there, but it's not like he's been horrendous. Once again, because I feel like I really want you to understand me, I'm not hollering for Marmol to bench Scott, not at all. But the Cardinals are getting diminishing offensive production from their outfielders as a group. And Scott is a valuable guy defensively. And I obviously do not overlook that because I just talked about what that means in terms of Pagés. But especially when he's really feeling it offensively, just uncomfortable at the plate. He doesn't have to start every single game, and he can be brought into the game at any time. And you can take advantage of his defense when you have a lead. Of course, the best way for Marmol to get more swings for Gorman is just giving him more opportunities against lefty pitching. Instead of keeping Gorman off limits when the other team starts a lefty, oh no, or brings in a lefty reliever, oh no. I'll explain more about this in my second and final segment of the Bernie Show. But first, some words about DraftKings and the daily Pick Six game that they have at DraftKings. Pick Six is a lot of fun. DraftKings covers a wide variety of sports, but if you think you know Major League Baseball, and hey, this is a baseball-heavy video podcast, so I'm going to focus on baseball. It's time to put your knowledge to use to win big cash prizes through the daily Pick Six contest. In DraftKings Pick Six, you just focus on player stats. You select anywhere from 2 to 6 players, and they don't have to be on the same team in the majors, by the way, but you select anywhere from 2 to 6 players. You choose whether the individual player will go higher or lower on a specific stat set for his next game by DraftKings. And I said higher or lower. It could also be more or less. You get the general gist of this. Now, here's what I mean. I like to give you a hypothetical so you know how this works. It's a hypothetical for Tuesday's game between the Blue Jays and the Cardinals. Miles Miklasz will be starting for the Redbirds. DraftKings has set a line of 2.5 strikeouts for Miklasz. That isn't a lot, right? You think, well, he might be able to get 3 strikeouts, but I'm helping you out here a little bit. Toronto's hitters have the lowest strikeout rate in the majors. Those boys are hard to whiff, right? So if you think, and I'm not telling you what to do, I'm giving you hypotheticals just to get you thinking about this. If you think Miklasz will strike out 2 or fewer Blue Jays, then you would choose the less than 2.5 strikeouts for Miles. If you think Miklasz will finesse his way to at least 3 strikeouts, then you would choose the more option. Yep, Peck six is that simple. Like, why do I call it Peck Six? Because you're pecking away. You're going to get that money. But it's Pick Six, and it's a lot of fun. And here's an invitation to get in the game. Take your shot at winning money. Pick Six is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. You'll enjoy tracking your selected players while the games are in progress. But the most entertaining part is winning at DraftKings. It's easy to get going. The app is great. Just download the DraftKings app and open an account. Choose a sport, pick your players, and go for it. New players at DraftKings. This is nice. You get $50 in Pick Six credits instantly with just a $5 entry. So download the Pick Six app now and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick Six credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, back to Nolan Gorman, final segment of the Bernie Show for today. Even though Gorman had gone 1 for 2 in Monday's game, Marmol lifted him for right-handed pinch hitter Ryan Vilade in the bottom of the 7th last night. Yeah, I get it. The Blue Jays brought in their very tricky reliever Brendan Little. And yeah, that's a tough matchup for Gorman. I'm not trying to suggest otherwise. But good grief, what is this team's obsession with Vilade? He was promoted when Walker went on the IL, and he's been run out there all the time. And he's gone 1 for 13 with 5 strikeouts. Well, maybe not been run out there all the time, but he's played a lot. But anyways, 1 for 13 with 5 strikeouts, including his time with the Tigers before the Cardinals signed him. It's Vilade's gone 6 for 64 as a major league hitter. Now, it's one thing to pinch hit for Gorman if you have a more capable and dangerous right-handed hitter waiting in the wings, someone who can punish lefties. But Vilade's not that guy. And I don't want to hear about minor league stats for a journeyman guy. Unless a dude is a Cardinals prospect, a young and upcoming prospect, because you've got to see numbers to tell you he's ready for the next step. I don't care about, basically career minor leaguers and what they're doing down on the farm. And of course, last night, after Gorman got pulled, Vilade struck out after being subbed in as a pinch hitter. And this only kind of frustrated me more. Listen, if Marmol had plugged Donovan into a corner outfield spot when Walker got hurt, it would have created more lineup time at second base for Gorman. But instead, the Cardinals kept running Vilade out there while keeping Gorman on the bench. This is absurd. This is a runway season. That's the Cardinals' term. That's the thing they're selling us. Well, who other than Jordan Walker, who better fits the runway term than Nolan Gorman? And by the way, he's been doing pretty well, very well lately. Granted, it's been against right-handed pitching, but in his last 13 games, Gorman's hitting .323. He's got a .516 slug. In his last 9 games, he's 8 for 20. That's a .400 batting average. And 3 of the 8 hits have been double, triple, and home run. This is a runway season. Once again, the Cardinals have been selling that, right? So if this is a runway season, why is Gorman, especially at a time where he is improving, why is he spending so much time idling on the tarmac? You've been on flights like that. You think you're going to push back for takeoff, and you just sit there and sit there and sit there. It's frustrating. Well, why do they keep Gorman on the tarmac? It's a runway season. Let him fly. Hitting coach Brand Brown has been working on Gorman's mechanics, and it's making a difference. So why is Gorman still idling and waiting for a chance to take off? If this is a runway season, isn't this the proper time? Another aspect of this, ain't this the proper time to give him more opportunities against left-handed pitchers? How in the world is he supposed to improve against them if he doesn't have a chance to face them? How do the people who run the Cardinals expect Gorman to grow when they've already basically boxed him in as a one-dimensional hitter and dismissed him as a factor against lefty pitching? Now, here I got some good stuff here. Gorman's big league career numbers versus lefties, they're bad. I'll grant you that. But it hasn't been the case. It hasn't been true all of the time. In 2023, Gorman hit .260 against lefties. He had a .360 on base percentage, and he slugged .479. That's an .840 OPS. And I don't care if it's a smaller sample or not. There ain't a damn thing wrong with that. Gorman followed through with those good numbers when he went into 2024. And over the first 2 months and about a week in June, he was really outstanding. And then he fell apart. He went into an extreme slump, and that put him back in the minors. The Cardinals had an incompetent and horribly limited in terms of thinking and teaching young hitters. They had a woefully inadequate hitting coach. The wrong type of hitting coach to fix Nolan Gorman when he still had time to bounce back. Once Gorman lost his confidence and became flustered, there was no one in place to fix him. So he had to go to the minors. So listen to me here. From the start of the 2023 season through the first week of June in I got my dates wrong here. I'll make sure I didn't reference that poorly. Okay, let me do it again. So from the start of the 2023 season through the first week of June 2024, Here's what Gorman did against lefty pitchers in about 150 plate appearances. 242 average, 338 on base percentage, and 477 slug. Listen, I know people are, still think it's 1964 out there, and they're hung up on batting average, but there is nothing bad at all about a 244 average for a developing left-handed power hitter when he goes against lefty pitchers, and that's not the most important stat anyway. The average doesn't matter as much as the 330 on base, the 477 slug, and the 814 OPS, and the home runs that he provided. Yeah, Gorman strikes out a lot, but I'm sorry, is this breaking news? Don't we already know this about him? But Gorman's plate discipline, while it still needs to improve, has definitely gotten better through his work with the very astute Brent Brown. By the way, the Cardinals are 16-13 when Gorman starts a game this season, so they can win with him. And if Gorman is given a legitimate chance to get cranking and he starts to crank through more playing time, they're going to win even more because the offense is on the fade. Anyway, at some point, if this is a true runway season, the Cardinals need to pull Gorman out of limbo and let him play and take swings against lefty pitchers. No scenario that leads to choosing Ryan Vilade over Nolan Gorman makes sense. And the platoon split numbers are 100% irrelevant in this case. Gorman is getting better. Vilade is just a guy, okay? When a younger hitter like Gorman shows signs that he's learned from all the lessons that have been poured into him to make him a more capable hitter, you should have more faith in him. You should reward him with more playing time. If this season was about finding about Walker and Gorman and other young dudes, well, it's time to start finding out rather than bailing out by keeping Gorman on the bench. Oh, we got a left-handed pitch. Oh, we can't use him. Yeah, you can. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we appreciate you very much. Leave some comments. I read them, and I don't mind zingers. And we also appreciate DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. Thank you very much.